family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora in this channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, family. Now, you all very likely remember a lot of our coverage before and during the last presidential and congressional elections. Yes, for the past several years, we have been a strong and very influential voice amongst average Black Americans to resist attempts to coerce us into voting and using our political power for everybody but us. We resisted the efforts of voting for the Democrat Party and in some instances the Republican Party that believe in giving white Afghans resources in modern history. We resist efforts to continue to use hundreds and millions of our very Black taxpayer dollars to send over to the Nazi Ukrainians. We resisted efforts by our government here in the United States to allow Ukrainians to utilize funds from Social Security that they didn't pay into, and to get housing and cars and jobs and money and contracts and insurance. Talk back to me, somebody. We resisted the efforts to spend hundreds of billions of dollars directly or indirectly from both legal and illegal immigrants and do absolutely nothing for those of us who are responsible for the creation of the United States. If you're watching me from throughout the United States and anywhere from around the world, you're probably confused and think that white folks actually built America. That's a lie. Oh, that's a lie. The layout of the United States, our buildings, our capitals, the economic engine, the socio-economic prowess and success, and even global impact has everything to do with us, our inventions, and our labor. Do you understand? Along with our energy. Now, with that being said, beloved, I want you to watch this very brief clip from old dead Black media folk. This particular one is from a man by the name of Andrew Gillum, right? Now, Andrew Gillum once ran for governor out of Florida, and then they got him in a scandal where he's married with children, all that stuff, and got a Black wife, but then he was caught in a hotel with some white men and some sniffing on something, high on something with stuff tooted in the air, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Subsequently, he lost because he scared the devil out of the Republicans. And to be honest, the Democrats threw him under the bus too and didn't really fight hard for him. I think he was the mayor of Tallahassee, and then he was in some debates for governor, and they just, came for him. They threw a Fed case on him. He overcame the Fed case, but they caught him up in some scandals. Well, watch this. In this clip, this is from Native Land Podcast, and it says, of course, he is a part of this podcast, I think that was inspired by, Charlemagne the guy from the Breakfast Club with his silly self. He's on the show along with Angela Rye, Tiffany Krause, and the voice that you'll be listening to right now is Andrew Gillum. Watch this.
I think so long as elections are still determining who is going to be running the country, serving as your mayor, on your school board, and your members of Congress, you need to participate. We need to show up, and we have to participate in the process that exists that allows for people to do exactly what they're doing right now to us, against us. I think we have to be really careful and responsible with how we talk about our elections systems, because it's the only thing that people can have faith in if they're exercising the process of going out of their house, down to a precinct, or in their house and filling out an absentee ballot and letting their voices be heard. Because I don't know too many people who willingly participate in what they find to be a futile experience. Most people, if I'm going to take my time, energy, effort, it better have an outcome on the other end of it, hopefully in the direction that I would like it to go, but an outcome nonetheless that can be trusted. And if we erode that process, we think we have problems now with the couch winning, quote unquote. We're really going to exacerbate a problem of people deciding to just check completely wholesale out of elections because they don't believe that they're legal, that they're fair, or that it will count.
Okay, fam. Now, did you see that reference to quote unquote on the couch? Notice he said that. Of course, y'all know we specifically talked about that here before the election. That's the phrase that we who are foundational Black Americans who from the streets, talk Black to me, somebody. We say from the streets. It doesn't mean you broke and poor. It just means the average man and woman. Yes, it's euphemism. Well, he's referring to, that's a phrase we created and invented and used. Well, he's telling us don't do that again. because they're trying to get us to think that the situation we're in now with the government is because we stayed home and we voted for the couch. No, we plan on voting for the couch again and again and again and again and again. Now, here's why. If you want us to vote for Democrats, the Democrats have to do something substantive like they did for the Afghans, the Ukrainian, and other migrants. You see? It's very simple. It makes no sense for us to do something and vote for somebody and give power to someone who refuses and explicitly says, like Obama been caught saying, like Kamala Harris has been caught saying, like the Democratic Party has said, they don't believe in reparations, they don't believe in giving us specific tangibles, and they don't believe in doing something for just Black people. So why are we voting for y'all? Do you understand? Now, don't take my word for it. Take the word of a living icon, the great Dr. Claude Anderson, who worked for the Jimmy Carter administration some years ago in the Commerce Department. What did he tell us in his iconic book titled Powernomics? And by the way, you can get it at that same website, this book, right? What did he tell us on page 187, chapter 7? He said that the worst part of the picture is that Black America has not demanded a quid pro quo relationship. In this context, he's talking about voting. He says, in explaining how Cuban refugees in Miami were able to economically and politically surpass and subordinate Blacks in Miami within 1 decade, a Cuban told me, quote, "We are not like Black people. You who always march, demonstrate, then beg." He said, "We demand what we want." End quote. Blacks have petitioned for freedom and equality, but never demanded quid pro quo compensation for their political loyalty, labor, patriotism, or cultural contributions. Powernomics urges Black voters, y'all listen, to begin to move towards the politics of patronage for the entire race and not just a few visible Blacks. The practice of political patronage rarely, if ever, presents a problem for non-Black groups because most politicians and political parties understand that they have to reward their supporters. So, Andrew Gillum, instead of you telling us not to use abstention as a strategy, because that's what that is when we use the word couch, we're saying abstaining, because that is a strategy in and of itself. You don't keep telling us to vote when we've been voting 50, 60 years for them and they have done nothing for us. You see how that's crazy? You see how we need to go get therapy when you keep doing that kind of stuff? You see how you may need a prescription or something? Something's wrong with you? You see how something is the matter in that situation? Right. So we're saying we're happy to vote. We are extremely politically engaged. But it was you Democrats that came against us. It was you Democrats who resisted us. It was you Democrats who demonized us. It was you Democrats who silenced us. And most importantly, it was you Democrats who redistributed our wealth and gave it to everybody but us. We said, if you stop doing that, we'll be happy to go vote. So Andrew Gillum, you ought to spend your time telling the Democrats to do what we tell them to do. Quid pro quo. You got to do something when we give you power. And that's just that. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. I am so excited about so many wonderful things of expansion. I've got a magazine, a luxury magazine for the everyday woman coming out. I have a book coming out soon. I have a beautiful low-cost school that's changing lives. My students are getting major breakthroughs, signs, and wonders. Follow my work. If you want to learn more about me, join my email list on my website to get direct alerts at VickiPlanet.com. That's VickiPlanet.com. I can't wait.